Hey everyone, what's up? How's it going? I'm Mariah and today we are going to get a little bit personal, so let's get into it. So you guys, I tried doing a painting video last week and I had my iPad set up and my camera set up and I was doing the 2-camera thing, feeling really good about it. And then I go to edit it last week and doing the picture-in-picture on my free app, which is actually pretty good. It's InShot, pretty good for a free app. But it was really difficult for me to line up the two videos precisely when I'm trying to speed them up too, so I gave up on that. So I thought, okay, I'll just post that video as a reel. I looked back at the video and the lighting is really wonky because my lamp is behind me, so it's like backlit and you can't see the painting. So basically, I was not meant to post that video, which is fine. The painting came out really well, I'll post the painting, but for some reason that video was not supposed to go up. And actually, my last couple of videos where I'm really just talking to you guys, those ones have performed better than a lot of my painting videos, so I still have more to say, so I thought that I would just give you guys a little life update and let you know where I'm currently at. So the big news is, I quit my job again. Now I know what you're thinking. Why does this girl keep quitting her stable job, pays well, to do God knows what? No plan whatsoever. I know, it doesn't sound very logical, but I look back and think about where I was in March 2021 when I quit my job the first time and started my business. I really had no idea what I was doing. I was desperate to get out of a bad situation and I didn't even want to find another job at that point, so I just thought, let me start my own business. That will be easier. Girl. Turns out it was not easier, but I've learned a lot and it's been a really fun journey. Challenging, very challenging. Starting a business is not for the weak. You have to have a lot of willpower, a lot of internal drive and determination, which some days I have and some days I don't. So it's definitely been tough. That's why it's so hard for me to be consistent too, especially when I'm working. It's really hard to edit videos, have enough content to post. That's my biggest problem, is having enough content to post each day. I probably could get more creative with like repurposing content, but I don't even have time to plan it out like that. Some people will make the time if they really have the drive and determination, but some days I just want to relax. If it's been a tough day, I just want to study astrology or watch a TV show. So anyways, looking back on when I first quit, it's kind of obvious to me that that wasn't gonna work out. I had no clue what I was doing. I didn't know as much about social media. I didn't even really know what I wanted to be doing. I just knew that I had to do something different. So that was a really important first step for me, because taking that leap set in motion all of these other factors that have gotten me to this point. So the reason I quit this time was, I mentioned it a little bit in my last video, I'm working for 2 companies right now under the same parent company, but they do things pretty differently. So it's definitely been challenging, reporting to a lot of different people, different processes, my attention's being pulled in multiple directions, and I'm working 40 hours, which is more than I was working before. So I just know in my heart that a 9-to-5 job is not really what I want to be doing. So of course I'm gonna need a job, I'm gonna need to make money, but I am going to try to find a job that's less demanding. I probably won't make as much money as I'm making now, but honestly, that's okay with me. As long as my basic needs are covered, I'd rather be doing something I enjoy. My time is more valuable to me than money. So I came to this conclusion really by just listening to my intuition. I want to say it was a new moon in Cancer, and I was a mess that day. I think it was like the end of June, there was a new moon in Cancer. I was sad for no identifiable reason. I was crying, I was calling my mom, I was just so upset. And the best way I can describe it is like existential dread. Maybe you guys can relate to this. Just feeling like the world is going so wrong. The environment, the climate is collapsing, our government is falling apart, just everything's a mess. So when I look at the world and see a mess, and I look at my own life and say, I don't like what I'm doing day to day, I was just not feeling good, and I knew that I needed to make a change. So by the end of that week, I waited until my head was a little clearer and my emotions had kind of subsided. But I will say, I sat with those feelings, I felt them, I communicated them with someone I trusted, and a few days later I was feeling a lot better and felt like I needed to make a decision. Once I had the thought of I need to quit my job, I knew in my heart that it was the right thing to do. And I'm trying to work on trusting my intuition more, because it's led me here. All of my questionable choices that I've made in the past couple of years have led me to this point. I'm in Los Angeles. I love it so much. My roommates are wonderful. Life is really good, except for work. So I need to figure that piece out. But I really want to trust myself because I never knew what was around the corner when I was making all of these decisions, and it hasn't been a straight line either. But I'm still making progress towards my goals, so I'm just gonna trust myself and do what I think is the best. It's funny too because I really could care less what strangers on the internet think about me. It's the people in my life, from home, my family, my friends, people that know me and have known me my whole life. I care a lot more what they think about me, which is annoying. I shouldn't care, but I do. And a lot of them have been telling me that I'm so brave and have so much courage for making these choices, which feels good, but it also feels like that's code for saying you have lost your mind. Honestly, that's fine. I'm learning to trust myself more, and we'll see where that takes me. And one of the reasons for that is the first time I quit my job, I stopped working in April, and the first couple months were really tough because I was starting a business, I was figuring it all out on my own, doing a lot of research on the internet, making good progress, but it was a lot to try to figure out on my own, and it was kind of discouraging. I kind of got a little bit stuck after a while, not really knowing what it took to make a small business successful. So 2 months into that, I was talking with a family friend and they asked me to take a part-time job, and I said yes when I wanted to say no because I'm a people pleaser. It's something that I've struggled with my whole life, and I'm just now in my late 20s. My birthday is this Saturday and I will be 27. But anyway, it's just something that I'm learning now, how to say no. It sounds easy, but it's really hard for some people. I'm sure some of you can relate to that. But I ended up saying yes to something that I really didn't want to say yes to, and it ended up just being a major distraction for me. I try to take everything as a lesson, so I look back and think about, okay, what did I take away from that experience? What did I learn? And what I learned is I should say no when I want to say no. If something doesn't benefit me, it's okay to put myself first. And it's funny too because I said no. I got out of my job that I wasn't enjoying. I was really drained and burnt out, so it took a lot out of me to say no to that. So it's kind of funny that 2 months later I turned around and put myself in the same kind of situation that I didn't want to be in. I kind of look at that as the universe teaching me a lesson again and again until you get it. And the universe will do that. It will test you. You can say no once, but can you say it twice? Can you say it 3 times? So back when I quit the first time, I put a lot of pressure on myself to be successful, do it right. I knew it wouldn't be easy, but I also had no idea how hard it was going to be. Now this time, I have more realistic expectations, and I also don't really have a set plan, and I'm a lot more comfortable with that now than I was. My last day is in a couple weeks, and I don't have anything else lined up yet, but I know that I'll be good for at least 6 months to figure my stuff out. So knowing that I have a cushion and that I can get a part-time job or something to kind of supplement my income is going to take the pressure off and allow me, hopefully, to focus more on the things that I love to do, like making art, learning about astrology, all of that kind of stuff. But I'll be honest with you guys, it's a little bit uncomfortable for me to tell you that I don't know what I'm doing and that I don't know what my next steps look like. But to be honest, that's just the truth. I don't have to exaggerate or make my situation sound better to other people than it does just because that's what I think they want to hear, or I don't want to disappoint them or anything like that. Honestly, it has nothing to do with them. So if they don't understand, too bad. And I know that I make that sound kind of easy, but it's really not. Having these conversations with people, especially people you care about, like family, extended family, friends, and telling them that you basically don't have a clear direction for your life, especially at my age and with my history of having stable employment, and kind of, to people that know me, it probably really looks like I've lost my mind. And it makes me laugh because I honestly feel internally like I know myself a lot more than I ever have. I don't have anything to prove to them. Of course, I want to be successful, but it's for me. It's not for anybody else. So the reason that I want to put this online too is hopefully that will help some of you guys in your journey to be more confident where you're at. Go for your dreams, take risks, but be smart about it. Make sure that you're not putting yourself in a bad situation, or you want to think of the future and make sure that you're going to be stable and can take care of yourself. but don't live your life for other people. I want to show you guys that it's okay to not have everything figured out, and this is a journey. Hopefully you guys will be able to grow with me and see my life improve. Or if not, I will just delete all these videos. Okay, so what is next? I have so many ideas, you guys. I was just on my bike ride last night and I had so many ideas flooding to me. I was listening to music in my happy place. I'm looking over at the sunset. I'm so lucky. I get to ride on this gorgeous bike path by the water. So I'm watching the sunset, and of course I want to paint the sunset. There's so many different ones. I have so many ideas of different ways to paint it. So I'll be riding my bike and take out my phone, do a little voice memo of what I want to paint. I'll put my phone down. A minute later, I pull it out again and I have another idea. That's really exciting for me. The challenge for me thus far has been I don't have enough time to execute my ideas. And it's also a little bit difficult for me to pinpoint and focus on just one thing. I have so many different interests and things that I love and enjoy that it's really hard for me to just focus on one of them. I don't think I'll ever be able to choose just one, but I'll try to pick a few. Obviously painting, obviously astrology. I want to squeeze politics in there because I just think it's so important, especially with everything that's going on in the world. And when I say politics, I also mean the environment, because that's always been a passion of mine, treating the planet well, making sure that we have somewhere viable to live, which this year especially, I feel like shit is really hitting the fan and people are kind of realizing that we haven't been treating the earth right, and it's fighting back, and it's more powerful than us. We will lose the battle. That's a really scary thought. And that's another reason that I wanted to quit my job too. It's really hard for me to go into work and focus on a job that I don't feel is important in the grand scheme of things. I want to make a difference wherever I can. However I can make the world better, whether that's inspiring other people to do what they love to do, whether it's educating people about the environment and all of that stuff. I want to make a difference however I can. One thing about that too, when you go into talking about politics, for example, you have to really know what you're talking about. If you have a platform, you want to use it responsibly. You don't want to be spreading misinformation. You want to make sure you're fact checking, that you're telling people the truth. In this day and age, it's so easy to get disinformation or misinformation, and you really can't believe everything you hear on the internet. So it's good to do your own research, but even then, you can't always trust the source if you're not trained in recognizing which sources are reliable and good information or unreliable information. So it's really difficult nowadays for people to be educated on these topics, and I want to make it easier for people if I can, but I'm not an expert, right? So while I personally have an interest in these things and I like to spend time learning about it for myself, it's much different to have a personal understanding of something versus trying to teach it to people. You have to have a much more solid understanding. So I want to be really careful with that. It is something that I want to look into and make videos on in the future. Like, for example, I talked to my sister about politics and she cares. She is horrified by what's going on, but she also doesn't fully understand it. She hears bits and pieces, but she doesn't follow it as closely as I do. And to be honest, she doesn't have basic understanding of how our government works, the three branches, what they can all do, what they can't do, how they work together. And unfortunately, our education system has really failed a lot of people in this way, where they don't know how the government works. And I don't know if that's by design or what the case is, but I think it's really important, especially with all the sneaky things going on now. It's really important that people are informed and know what's happening, recognize the corruption that is slipping by if we don't say anything or do anything to stop it. So I don't want to get into that yet, but that's definitely something that's churning in my mind that's really important to me, so more to come on that another time. One other thing that I wanted to say about that is, while it is important to know what you're talking about, I feel like cancel culture has scared people a little bit, where you feel like you have to be an expert in a topic to even engage in a conversation about it online, and that's just not true. I think it's important for people to have these discussions and start talking to each other, not shaming people for their opinions if they genuinely don't know. There's a difference between hateful or prejudiced, discriminatory opinions versus true ignorance. Not that ignorance is an excuse, but those people need help. They need to be educated and they need to have conversations, and we don't want to shame them for not knowing. We want to engage them in the conversation and help them see what the problems are and why this is so important. So that's something else I wanted to say. You don't necessarily have to be an expert. It's really important to just start these conversations and make people feel like it's not just for politics nerds. It's important for everybody to be aware of and talk about. So I've got about 2 weeks of work left, and I can't wait to be done because I really want to focus my time on painting and all of these things that I've talked about where I'm really passionate about. But I have to be patient. I have to not be too hard on myself. One thing that really discourages me is that I haven't been able to be consistent with my YouTube channel, with my Instagram. For the algorithm, it's really important to post constantly on these apps. For people to see your content, even people who've chosen to follow you, they're not going to see your content unless you're posting consistently pretty much every day. And because I'm working and have other priorities, it's been a real challenge for me to commit to posting that often. So that's been discouraging, but I'm really looking forward to having more time to spend on planning my content and putting my energy into these things that I love. So I really hope to be a lot more present on social media later in August. So that's it for today's video. I just wanted to give you guys an update of where I'm at and what you can expect from me going forward. I'll probably still throw in some painting videos here and there, but I really wanted to just give you guys an update about what's going on in my life and why I've been a little bit absent. Let me know in the comments if any of these things resonated with you, if you want to hear more about any of these certain topics, and I will see you next week on Thursday at 5 p.m. Pacific time in my next video. Bye!